Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Terry Morrow.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Terry and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics, because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. So we are continuing this week with our 2 TV series, Veronica Mars and Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist. So we'll start with our friend Zoey. This week, the episode is called Zoey's Extraordinary Mystery. And the mystery is that the wrong people are singing songs so they don't make sense when they're coming out of the mouths of the people that are singing them. And Mo awesomely has a whole crime-solving poster board situation.
Yes.
To help Zoey figure this out. And they soon determine that it's basically a 1-to-1 switch, that Max is singing a song that really is meant to be coming from, it turns out, Zoey's sister-in-law, Emily, and Emily is singing Max's song, but it takes a whole episode to put that last piece of the puzzle together.
Yeah. Wasn't Emily just in a fine mood last week? Is she upset that he quit the garage band? Is that what the problem is?
Yeah, she was like in a good mood.
She was in a super good mood. And that song was really breakdown sad.
Yeah.
Is it postpartum depression, I guess, maybe? Or
that's what it made me think of, which, can happen. It doesn't have to happen immediately after birth. Like, it can definitely come later. So,
yeah.
But yes, it was quite heartbreaking when she...
Yes. Previous hints would have been nice, though. Mm-hmm. It's just sort of like, okay, somebody's got to be really depressed. Who could it be? Emily, okay.
Emily, let's spin the wheel, and it landed on Emily today.
Could easily have been Leaf. It could have been, somebody else at work. It could have been... there was that downstairs lady who was singing like Jimmy Buffett songs or something. Have we heard from her in a while? She was pretty sad. We never saw her again. But no, it's Emily, and very affecting. Mm-hmm. But it's very gimmicky.
Well, yeah, especially because she was switched with Max, and so the Max song was him singing Rosanna by Toto, which is. So it was very jarring because Emily started singing that to her baby, Miles. Uh-huh. And so then, of course, Zoey immediately knew that it was meant to be Max. But so then they had Emily switch to singing her sad song halfway through Rosanna. Yeah. And that was quite sudden.
That was a very effective scene. I have no problem with that scene. It's just the whole episode. Mm-hmm. The whole idea
of the switcheroos
was gimmicky. That last scene was very affecting. Would have been more so if we'd had any previous indication. I guess just the fact that she was texting her and kept wanting to get with her and stuff. But
you're right. That was just this episode. There was nothing in the past.
Yeah. I just feel like they're only like midway through their second season, and this is what they got to fill an episode. Mm-hmm. Maybe it seems a little, grasping for straws. Mm-hmm.
But it did allow the quite amusing sight of Sexy Simon singing "What Does the Fox Say?"
Yes.
And then Hot Fire Marshall's cute son.
Oh, yes. At that moment,
a love song to Zoey.
When it turns out to be the kids singing, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll allow this episode.
Yeah.
Because that was adorable.
It was so good.
Yeah.
At the Science Museum, dancing on the desk in his Vans. He was the best.
Yes.
He was too old to be dependent upon the stuffed animal in that way, but okay. Well,
it's a divorce thing.
Yes.
Don't ask too many questions.
I know. Yes.
Yeah, I guess it was fun for everybody to be singing songs they would never sing, and, but it's just such filler.
Yeah. Oh, Terry, wait till you get to Veronica Mars. We'll get there.
Veronica Mars has had tons and tons of plot on top of plot.
Yes.
In its 3 seasons. This show seems like it's sputtering a little bit. Mm-hmm. But, it's certainly entertaining. And I say again, it should be a half-an-hour show.
Yes.
I can't say what half of this episode I would have done without, but they've got enough weight for a half-an-hour show. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I don't know. It just seems like
whole hour show.
Yeah, I do not mind something kind of fun and silly like this in a sitcom. Mm-hmm. Hour-long show, I don't know. It's as we've talked about before, last season had the running theme of Mitch, which gave it some depth.
Right.
This season has lacked that. It seemed for a minute like they had something, and then that plot line just, I guess everything's okay at Spark Point now. They've handled all their...
They don't seem to have hired that actor who plays the CEO for very many episodes.
Right. So I don't know what they're going to do, if it's just going to be a different little...
Case of the week?
Yeah, little different puff of fluff every week with singing and dancing, and who can complain? Not me. Certainly not. I'm not singing a sad song. I was trying to think what song I would sing in
response
to this, but I got nothing. I need Zoey to interpret what my heart is singing.
Or the psychic from this
Is
show.
That all there is?
The
maybe.
Medium. Or intuitive listener, or whatever she said, whatever her name. Or
that was an annoying character.
Title was.
Yeah. See, okay, if we cut this down to a half an hour, that's something I would cut. Yeah. All the medium stuff. Completely unnecessary. Had nothing in the end to do with anything.
Exactly. Yeah, you definitely could have had the switching without...
Did not
songs without that
need
person.
that at all. No. So, well, I won't hate on it. It didn't annoy me. It was entertaining enough. It would have been more entertaining if it was in a half an hour. But, I'm there for singing and dancing. Bring it on.
That's right.
And Jane Levy is just the cutest little thing.
Yes.
And just exactly the actress you want for this stuff, because even when it's not very good, she's just trying so hard. You cannot hate.
No.
So, good for her. And, that was an hour of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, shall we move on to another hour that we spent with a young lady who has some special abilities?
It's a thing. See, we should have talked about Veronica Mars when we introduced Zoey, and then Zoey when we introduced Veronica Mars, just for the theme.
Yes.
I'm listening to this thing about Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, and there's like detective work, and it just doesn't seem quite right. Where can I find the short young woman who this belongs to?
Perfect.
All right.
So this Veronica Mars episode was titled Un-American Graffiti, and it was a case of the week, and that's it. Like,
a better title might have been Complete Waste of Time. But that's not punny. Let's see. We need to think of a punny way to say that.
But so on the podcast, they said that the season order was reduced from 22 episodes to 20 or something.
Yeah.
And the original plan was like 3 shorter arcs instead of 1 season-long arc. So I guess the idea is that they just bailed on the final arc that they were going to do?
I don't know if something else comes up after this, but I was thinking of that too, what they said on the podcast, and it's like they got their order cut, so they had to wrap up all the plots they had thus far super quick. Just it's done. And so fast the stuff was wrapped, the stuff about the dean was wrapped up. So fast the stuff about the basketball coach was wrapped up. And then we get this episode in which nothing of any usefulness or interest happens, except possibly Veronica and Piz, but the less thought about that, the better. But that could have been the button on any episode at all. They could have had the Dean's thing work out over 2 weeks. Well, I don't understand. It's like if you suddenly run out, you don't have room for episodes like this anymore.
Right.
These are the ones you cut. Why does this exist?
Yeah. Very.
I mean, the mystery of the week was sort of offensive in various ways. And if not that, just kind of icky.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, I guess we had relationship stuff, which we haven't had for a couple of weeks, but it's not good relationship stuff. Even, Mac and Max would have been very, very cute together if she wasn't with another guy.
That made me so mad. I was like,
where was her boyfriend?
Do not take Bronson away from her. He was so nice. Like, what?
And not only was it that there was a line that they broke up, there was no mention of him whatsoever.
I know.
Like, she's a completely free agent, and that is not the case. It seemed like an episode that maybe was supposed to be someplace else and they just dropped it in from nowhere. Mm-hmm. Although, no, it can't be because Logan and
Parker
are a couple.
Yeah.
And really, Logan, you will be so much happier. Just don't stop pining for Veronica, man. We know where this goes. Nowhere good. Yeah. Yep. And the whole thing, as they were talking about on the podcast, okay, if a girl tells you she doesn't like you, forcefully kissing her is not an appropriate response.
Right.
And if you are said girl saying, hey, that was a pretty good kiss, let me follow him out to the elevator and kiss him again, is also not a good response. Mm-mm. How good a kisser is Piz that she suddenly has her head turned? Come on. That guy doesn't have that much game. So it's just like stuff being moved around on a whiteboard to say, okay, we got to fit this in somewhere. Where can we put this? Or can we put that?
Right.
All right, we got to have her with Piz, so then we can have these complications, and then more drama to the Logan and Veronica thing. And can we just end the season now? Could this be the last episode? And then we'll just come back.
It does seem like, what is the point of having any more? I mean, they've already solved 2 bigger mysteries or cases, right?
They've solved 2 big ones and one that should have been a big one but was over in 2 episodes.
They made into 2 episodes, and that's it.
It's just, the pacing of this show is so weird. And I feel like it was so good in the first season. Mm-hmm. They should have been a 1-season show. And ended with that horrible scene of Aaron beating the bleep out of the Marses. And then that's the end. You don't have to think about, well, geez, he's going to walk on this because it's all circumstantial. And, let's think of another season's worth of plot with an arc.
Right.
It just could just sit there as a good season of television with lots of interesting performances. Mm-hmm. But boy, are there diminishing returns.
Right.
And so what do you think of Sheriff Keith? They thought he was no fun on the podcast.
I just had to laugh when so there was that whole situation where he found out that his deputies were just ignoring all of the campus bars that were allowing fake IDs. And
yes.
That I did it, the whole plot where like Wallace and Piz had fake IDs that were from Veronica that were so much better than everybody else's.
Yes.
And then he made them go with him. Keith like set up a sting, basically, where Wallace and Piz had to go with fake IDs. Anyway, and then the deputies that didn't do anything about this, he fired. But the way it was like Smith, Jones, Taylor, Johnson, or whatever. It was like, we can't be bothered to think of names for these people.
They're the most extra-iest names ever.
Yes. Like, you're gone, so we're
only one of them got a line.
Yeah.
And Sax is the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Just keeps looking longingly up at Keith. Like, Dad's back. It's so nice.
Adults in the room again.
But when he's your most loyal and staunch deputy,
right,
you're kind of in trouble. But who are these other guys? Have we ever seen these other guys? Were they ever in the office before?
No. They were out in the field, I guess.
I guess. taking bribes and not taking names.
Right.
Goodness.
And I guess I missed
ridiculous.
that Sax is the one who shot Steve.
Yeah.
I thought Lamb had kind of shot him on the way down, but but now that I think about it, it was Sax. I remember it being Sax, him coming in and discovering what was going on. So.
I can't say because I didn't watch it. Still have not watched it. Should have gone back and watched it, but as an act of protest, I shall not.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like the less said about this episode, the better. But I did enjoy the podcast, which this time they did mostly do them one at a time.
Yeah, but they always do like sort of the plot arc. Like
that's true.
They do the relationships in all three, and then they do whatever case and things like that. Yeah,
I'm still disappointed that there has not been more that Unlucky didn't get to have a talking bad guy moment where he explained everything he did so that I could get recognition for the things that I noticed that they didn't even notice on the podcast, I don't think. But apparently I didn't really notice them because they were not actually there. But still, I could give them some notes. They could give him a nice speech.
Yeah.
He could write it. He could send Veronica a letter explaining everything. But no, it's clear that plot is gone and never coming back.
Right.
So, I don't know. What are they going to do? How many more episodes are there, Catherine?
I think 4.
Is this just going to be 4 weeks of relationship stuff?
In case of the week, yeah.
They could not have then, instead of having 4 weeks of thumb twiddling, they couldn't have just stretched out those arcs a little bit longer? I do not understand.
Well, I wouldn't have wanted them to stretch out the rape one anymore.
No, that was stretched out a half a season too long.
Yes.
Anything more than that one episode, it should not have been stretched.
Yeah.
If Keith Mars had been sheriff, it would never have lasted that long. Over. He'd have gotten to the bottom of it.
That's right.
Solves murders, busts college kids drinking. What a cottage industry that would be for the law enforcement of that area. Is just to constantly bust kids for drinking, charge them some money, and let them go. I bet they'd make more than bribes if they did that.
Right.
I mean, the bar owner's just going to have some lousy raffle tickets, but those kids are going to keep drinking. They're dodos.
Yeah.
Hearst College doesn't seem to me like they must have a very high standards of admission.
They're not bringing in the most elite students.
It's where you go if you're rich and your grades are real bad, I guess.
Or you're Veronica and your grades are good, but you don't have any money.
That's right. 2 ends of the equation.
Right.
But, well, this was unsatisfying, but
yes.
I fear there are even more unpleasant episodes ahead, like perhaps the very next one. Yes.
So next week, for Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, it's Season 2, Episode 10, Zoey's Extraordinary Girls' Night.
Alrighty.
And for Veronica Mars, it's called Debasement Tapes. Like not the basement, but debasement.
Tapes.
Yeah.
Stop them before they pun again.
Yes. And that's going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Bye, Terry.
Bye, Catherine.
Goodbye, everyone.